After announcing my pregnancy, my sister-in-law's scheme to embarrass me at my husband's birthday gathering completely failed, resulting in her arrest and an impending divorce. For the past 7 years, I, 29F, have been married to Harry. I adore nearly everything about our life together, except for his connection with his sister, Kayla, who consistently introduces toxicity into our world. Don't misunderstand me. When I first met Kayla, I genuinely liked her. However, over time, my opinion shifted dramatically. She is toxic, controlling, and overwhelmingly pessimistic. Aware of her personality, I put in considerable effort over the years to stay on her positive side. Years ago, when Harry was 17, he dated Syl's closest friend, but they ended things because he felt pressured into the relationship due to Syl. When he was 23 and single again, his sister insisted he should pair up with another of her friends, but he refused. She ran to their parents in tears, complaining that she wanted him to marry someone she approved of, but their parents barely paid attention during that intense argument. While Harry and I were getting to know each other and falling in love, his parents were very supportive, yet Syl always acted distant toward me. Whenever I was around, she would randomly mention Harry's former girlfriends, updating him on their successes and suggesting ways he could reconnect with them. This went on for a while. Even Harry found it odd and repeatedly asked her to stop mentioning his exes. I wasn't the only one who noticed this pattern. Then Syl would become furious and start insulting me, accusing me of being insecure and claiming Harry deserved someone better. Whenever his parents invited us for dinner, Syl would intentionally bring one of Harry's exes along, claiming she had accidentally run into them that day and felt obligated to invite them. She doesn't follow me on social media, but she constantly views my Instagram stories. Since my account is public, I noticed she was almost always the first viewer. If a guy ever commented on one of my photos, she would immediately complain to her brother about how I was posting inappropriate pictures of myself. Harry and I would often laugh privately at her accusations. When Harry and I decided to move in together, she tried convincing him to end things with me, telling him I had too many flaws as a partner and that she could find him someone far superior. This hurt me deeply because I had only ever been kind to her. Unfortunately, Syl's behavior toward me worsened significantly once Harry and I got engaged. As everyone celebrated our engagement announcement, cheering for Harry and me, I noticed Kayla remained unusually silent. Suddenly, she jumped up from her seat and stormed out of the gathering, shocking everyone. Later, she called Harry, crying and screaming about how she felt betrayed for learning the news with everyone else when she believed she was closest to him and should have been told first. Afterward, she sent me a message that bordered on threatening, warning me about how I should treat her brother, since she had always been the most important woman in his life. The wording gave me chills. I left it on scene without replying, which I know infuriated her further. From then on, whenever Syl saw me, she began openly ignoring me. For some reason, she still inserted herself into every wedding planning activity, like joining dress shopping and attending my bridal shower. Despite both my future mother-in-law and fiancé calling her out multiple times, her complaints about the wedding escalated as she openly criticized my choices. Her behavior continued unchecked. One day, while I was discussing centerpieces with my future mother-in-law, Kayla overheard and immediately began mocking me, saying my ideas lacked elegance and that this was exactly why she wished her brother would marry someone more suitable. That became my breaking point and I finally snapped. I told her clearly that she was no longer welcome at our wedding and shouted that I couldn't tolerate her constant belittling and negativity anymore. Kayla was stunned, gasping dramatically as if she never imagined I would stand up to her. Even my mother-in-law supported me and scolded her. Later, Kayla called Harry, whining about how I had humiliated her and demanding he control me since I would soon be his wife. Harry firmly told her he backed my decision completely and that she wouldn't be invited unless she apologized sincerely. She eventually sent me a reluctant apology text. I read it but again left it on scene. I was exhausted from wedding preparations and wanted no part of her drama. In the end, she did attend our wedding because I didn't want her complaining about exclusion afterward. Everyone, including guests, happily followed the soft pink and pastel theme I had chosen. But Syl showed up dressed entirely in black, a long gown with a veil as if mourning. Needless to say, we were all taken aback. Throughout the event, Syl went around telling people how heartbroken she was about losing her brother to another woman. At the reception, my husband confronted her about her inappropriate attire. She played the victim, insisting she could wear whatever she wanted and accusing me of being controlling. When her dramatic behavior continued, my mother-in-law and father-in-law finally asked her to leave. It was mortifying for everyone. Since that day, I have kept my distance from her. When I gave birth to our son Nate, I refused to let Syl anywhere near him. She protested, but my husband's parents supported me fully. They understood exactly why I wanted her away from my baby. 2 years ago, Syl experienced a miscarriage with her then-boyfriend Jamie, and it devastated her. It was a heartbreaking time for the whole family. Since Harry and I already had a child, we felt extra sympathy for her. We decided to ease up a bit after her loss. We allowed her to visit our home and spend time with Nate. Surprisingly, despite her treatment of me, she was actually quite affectionate with our son. At first, she seemed improved, but gradually she reverted to her old ways. She constantly complained about how unfair life was to her, how nothing ever worked out, and blamed former friends or bosses for her problems. Over time, I've realized she never admits fault in any situation. She always plays the victim to gain sympathy and rarely acknowledges her role in conflicts. This year, she decided to get married and sent save-the-dates to everyone. Harry was shocked to learn we weren't invited. When we asked why, she explained that she didn't want me there because I might cause drama at her wedding. Outraged, I called her directly, since I had never done anything to warrant that fear, and asked for clarification. Kayla claimed that because she had worn black to our wedding on purpose, she now worried I might retaliate in the same way. I immediately told my husband how manipulative she was being. After talking with his parents, Harry informed Syl that neither he nor they would attend or help fund the wedding. This reduced Syl to tears, and she started blaming me for the fallout. Her husband pointed out that she had no grounds to accuse me since she openly admitted her past actions. Kayla brushed it off, saying I should just move on because our wedding was years ago. Eventually, she contacted me again, apologizing and asking for forgiveness since the in-laws still refused to pay. I have to admit, Kayla can be very persuasive and charming when she needs something. Wanting to put the past behind us, I forgave her. Her wedding to Jamie went smoothly. We all attended and enjoyed ourselves. Less than 6 months later, Kayla showed up at our door complaining that her marriage was falling apart. Harry and I let her stay with us for a few days, during which she endlessly vented about her husband. They were having trouble conceiving, and Kayla placed all the blame on Jamie. When I tried talking to her privately, she insisted it was entirely his fault. When she wasn't ranting about him, she became obsessively focused on our lives, inventing issues that didn't exist. For example, I usually go to the gym every morning before work. If I'm running behind, I sometimes bring my office clothes so I can shower and change there after exercising. Syl noticed this routine and started asking endless questions. Why I needed to shower, why I even went to the gym. I didn't think much of it and explained that I liked staying in shape and hated going to work sweaty. She would nod while pursing her lips. During lunch one day, Mil was mentioning a friend who was divorcing after discovering her husband's affair and taking half his assets. Syl interrupted abruptly to ask my husband if we had signed a prenup before marrying. We all froze and stared at her. Dinner came to a halt. She looked directly at Harry expectantly, as if I weren't even there. My husband, who is very direct, told her plainly that since we both earned good incomes, we saw no reason for one. Syl scoffed and said he could be caught off guard any time because cheating is so common nowadays. Offended, I asked her to explain what she meant exactly. Without hesitation, Syl claimed I was clearly seeing someone else because I always carried extra clothes and showered elsewhere. And as Harry's sister, it was her duty to protect him. These accusations stunned me. Fal and Ml quickly stepped in, telling her to stop making up stories and mind her own business. Undeterred, Syl kept insisting she was only looking out for her brother, and then joked whether our son Nate was even Harry's, since he didn't look much like him. I saw pure fury flush across my husband's face. I had never witnessed him that angry. Staring her down, he told Kayla she wasn't a mother yet because she didn't deserve to be, and that her lost baby was better off than being raised by someone like her. Kayla's mouth hung open in shock. Mal and Fal watched silently as my husband continued, calling Kayla shameless for trying to destroy lives when her own was empty. He said she was just a failure who did nothing while her husband worked tirelessly. He accused her of projecting her own issues and told her to fix her marriage instead of meddling in ours or asking about prenups. Kayla burst into tears and wails. She looked to Jamie for comfort, but he remained silent beside her. My husband rarely loses control like that. Eventually, she stood and ran to the bathroom. Harry was still fuming. I gently touched his hand while Mal helped calm him. He apologized to me for what his sister said about our son, and I nodded. I understood her toxicity. Honestly, after years of enduring her, I felt some relief seeing him defend me so fiercely. He apologized to Jamie but completely ignored Kayla once he settled down. After that lunch, we cut off all contact with her. Her actions were now affecting Harry as much as me. We blocked her everywhere so she couldn't reach us. Afterward, Mal and Fal spoke with us privately and agreed Kayla had crossed a final line. They saw how their normally calm son exploded because she kept pushing boundaries. We last had any interaction with her a year ago, and life has been peaceful since. 2 months ago, I unexpectedly found out I was pregnant again. Harry and I feel incredibly blessed to be welcoming another child. We waited for the perfect moment to share the news and chose my husband's birthday. To celebrate him, Mal and Fal hosted a large party in their backyard. Close friends and family were invited. Somehow, Sil learned about it from others and decided to attend. Harry and I were surprised when she arrived. She approached Harry for a hug, saying how much she missed him and regretted their last conversation. Harry held my hand and told his sister that any apology should be directed at me for attacking my character. Sil nodded, turned to me and said sorry. She explained she had been in therapy for several months and now recognized how wrong her past behavior toward me was. I didn't fully believe her but nodded politely since it was a public event for my husband. Mal and Fal checked in with us, saying they hadn't known she was coming and would remove her if we felt uneasy. Harry said he didn't want to cause a scene, so we let it go. Throughout the party, Sil was unusually cheerful, chatting and laughing with everyone. She mentioned therapy again, so despite it feeling off, since it wasn't her typical demeanor, I tried giving her the benefit of the doubt. When it was time to cut the cake, Harry gave a heartfelt speech about feeling like the luckiest man alive for another year with a woman like me. His words made me blush with happiness. I still appreciated how deeply in love we remained, just like when we first started dating. Then Harry and I decided to share our exciting news. Smiling widely, we announced we were expecting a baby. Everyone paused briefly before erupting in joyful cheers. My mother rushed over, hugging me with tears. Fal toasted us emotionally while crying. Guests excitedly asked about potential names and were genuinely thrilled. Sil was the exception. She looked frozen in shock. Her expression darkened, and she turned away, clearly upset. I worried she might ruin another event but got distracted by others congratulating us. I stood to help my in-laws with food, but Fal and my parents insisted I sit and relax now that I was pregnant. As I waited for Harry to bring me a plate, Sil approached with a big smile. She said she wanted to personally serve me since she was so happy about my pregnancy and wished to make amends for all the times she had been unkind. I nodded politely and accepted. She handed me the plate and walked away. Just as I was about to eat, I noticed shrimp on it. Knowing I'm severely allergic, I was confused why she would give me that. Disappointed, I stood to get my own food. At that moment, Jamie came over to congratulate me on the pregnancy. After chatting briefly, he asked why I wasn't eating. I explained that Sil had likely mistakenly given me shrimp, and he offered to take the plate since he loved shrimp. He said not to worry and that I should get a fresh one. I smiled, agreed, and turned away. About 5 minutes later, Jamie started violently vomiting and clutching his throat. Everyone stopped eating in alarm as he struggled to stand. Harry and Kayla rushed to him worriedly. Jamie pointed desperately at his plate and his swelling throat. We all realized something was terribly wrong with what he ate. Then he collapsed, causing gasps of panic. Someone called an ambulance amid the chaos, and he was rushed to the hospital. Throughout this, Kayla sobbed uncontrollably while glaring at me furiously. Later, we learned Jamie had been poisoned. Hearing that the plate was originally meant for me nearly made me faint. Could have harmed me and my unborn baby. Harry, MIL, and my parents still don't know this detail. Since no one knew what substance caused his reaction, police were called to collect evidence from the food. Jamie remains in recovery as I write this. Kayla stayed with him at the hospital overnight. Harry and I have been answering constant calls from relatives asking about Jamie and who could have poisoned him. MAL and FIL are shaken and staying with us because they're afraid to go home alone. No one understands how everything turned disastrous when the day had been going so well. I'm terrified to reveal that the plate was first given to me by Kayla. If this becomes a formal investigation, I'll have to tell the police the full truth. Most of all, I'm now deeply frightened of what my SAL might do next. I never want to be near her again, and I certainly won't let my children anywhere close. She clearly has no limits if she attempted to poison me. I feel terrible for giving Jamie my plate and potentially contributing to his suffering. Update 1. Wow. Thank you for the overwhelming response and thousands of comments in just hours. I never expected this much support. I wrote the original post with trembling hands and still haven't slept much. Despite what many say, I do feel some guilt over what happened to my BIL. I should have simply thrown the plate away. I don't know why I let him take it. I've been crying thinking about his condition. My husband has been staying close, sensing something is wrong, but he thinks I'm just anxious. He doesn't know what I suspect about his sister yet. I agree with comments suggesting I sit down calmly and talk to everyone. I'm unsure if they'll believe me, but MIL and FIL have security cameras throughout their property. Since the party was in their backyard, I'm certain footage will show Kayla handing me the plate. I'll discuss it with them tonight and update later. Update 2. We talked, and I'm so grateful to have the most supportive in-laws imaginable. Since MIL and FIL were already staying with us, I sat down with Harry and them during dinner to share something important. Taking a deep breath, feeling the burden heavily, I began. As they listened attentively, I recounted the party events. How Sil personally served me a plate with shrimp, and how Jamie accidentally ate it, leading to his poisoning. Their faces mirrored my own horror and disbelief. MAL and FIL exchanged worried glances. Harry's expression shifted from confusion to intense anger. I continued, voicing my fears about SIL's possible motives and her history of trying to harm me emotionally. I worried about the consequences for all of us.